What's up, everybody? Here we go. Here we go on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to Sports Talk with Hawk, the show where enthusiasm is not at a decline, nor is it at something that is left on the wayside. There is plenty of enthusiasm here. I was actually told by 3 different people after yesterday's podcast that they loved the reaction to the David Montgomery trade and how everything played out. And those of you that said that, I appreciate it. I deeply appreciate it. It gets me excited. It gets me excited, especially when things happen while I'm live on the podcast. But we have got some interesting news today. And we're going to run in the entire NFC North today. The 4 teams we're going to go down, the Packers, the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings. We're going to snapshot each one of those teams. We'll check in on how hockey did last night. We'll check in on how the NBA fared last night. And but we're mostly going to be looking at what is happening leading up to, number one, today is the franchise tag deadline today. 4 o'clock today is the franchise tag deadline. So after today, those who are not franchise tagged will become free agents. We know George Pickens has already been franchise tagged. We know others are not being tenured. We'll go over all of that news here in a second. But, as always, let's dive in and let's get the snapshots out of the way before we get to the rest of the news. So we're going to open up with a team that I think has a very big decision. The roster is much better than how 2026 ended, 2025 ended. And I believe that is the Minnesota Vikings. I fully believe they have one decision to make for whether or not this team will have success next year. One decision. Now, I'm going to do this backwards from how I did Atlanta yesterday. I'm going to work backwards on this. So one of the things, one of the news things that I have read and is starting to sound legitimate is that the Dolphins cannot find a trade partner for Tua Tagovailoa. Because of that, they may actually cut him and absorb a $97 million dead cap hit. You heard me correct. $97 million to cut a quarterback that 2 years ago some in that organization thought was the number one. So follow me on this. I believe the Vikings have multiple options right now. Number one, and I will say this straight up simple. Number one option is the Dolphins cut Tua and the Vikings offer Tua a starting role position for $2 million a year. For $2 million a year to be the starter of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Hold it. The North, the guy can't play in weather that's below 60 degrees. You are correct, my friend. But let's play this out right now. Minnesota Viking games are all inside. The Detroit Lion game is inside. So you have a minimum of 9 to 10 games inside, period. That is the key factor in all this. It's no different than being in Miami. Miami, all your home games are comfort. All your road games depends on when they are in the season. Tua could play in Green Bay in September. He can play in Chicago in early October. He just can't play there in November and December. But if you're the Vikings, with a roster as stacked as they are, there was zero reason outside of J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz why the Minnesota Vikings did not have a playoff team last year. That team is stacked. They've got Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. They got one of the top 5 young play callers in the NFL in Kevin O'Connell. There was no reason that they did not make the playoffs outside of the quarterback issue. They got outbid on Sam Darnold. They got outbid on Daniel Jones. Now this year, the number one option for the Minnesota Vikings, in my opinion, for the cap space, let me be very, very clear, for the cap space is to hope that Tua gets cut and to sign Tua. That's your best option. At least Justin Jefferson can get the ball. If Jordan Addison's actually on the field, at least he could get the ball. At least you could get the ball to Hockenson. Run the offense. Like there's an aspect of this where all you're asking for is for at home. Let's just say, for sake of argument, you've got 8 games at home. I don't know if it's 9 or 8. I'm not looking at it right now. Let's just say, for sake of argument, you have 8 games at home. If you win 6 of those, and you have 9 road games, all you're asking them to do is win 4. You're asking them to be below 500 on the road. Win 6 at home, 4 on the road, go 10-7, be in the position for the playoffs. The NFC is so stacked, there's not going to be that much separation. There just won't be. The teams that had a down year, the Lions, they're not going to have another down year. Are you kidding me? With that roster? With a real offensive coordinator now in Detroit? Heck no. So if you're the Vikings, my number one option is going to be Tua on a cheap deal. My second option for them is going to be Mac Jones for the 49ers. Although I like Mac Jones with the Falcons better, Mac Jones for the Vikings works just as good. I don't know if they're going to be able to bring in somebody like that. I don't know what Mac Jones is going to end up demanding. I know the Falcons are in a better position to pay it than the Vikings are. But then there's this third option. And I threw this out to Big J last night. I threw this out. I told you guys yesterday that idiots are out there talking about, could the Texans trade C.J. Stroud, the franchise quarterback that's won division titles, gone 3-3 in the playoffs, and keeps getting better. Which, by the way, don't forget, he won a road game because they were a wild card team over Pittsburgh this year in the playoffs. It wasn't just at home in the Dome. They beat Pittsburgh. Yes, I know Pittsburgh sucked. I know their offensive line was garbage, but he beat Pittsburgh. So it's not only at home in the Dome. It's not only in Texas. He won on the road, outside. The idiots that want to trade him. Fine. The Vikings will trade J.J. McCarthy to the Texans for C.J. Stroud. The Vikings send a pick with McCarthy to get C.J. Stroud. Boy, would that be one heck of a trade. Would that be wild or what? Number one, the Texans would be stupid. Number two, the Vikings would fix their quarterback issue. C.J. Stroud would have an offensive line. C.J. Stroud would have an offensive head coach or an offensive play caller that's really, really good. Not just an offensive coordinator that's good. He would have a really, really good offensive coordinator. He'd have a run game, which this year he will if he stays because David Montgomery's there, but nonetheless. So my 3 options for the Vikings that make the most sense. Number one, because of cap, get Tua on a $2 million deal. That makes the most sense. Get him on a really cheap deal. If you can't get him, go after Mac Jones. But then the outside the box idea, which you guys know I love throwing out there, go get C.J. Stroud. Texans want to move on. They feel like Davis Mills could be better. They're cheap. Davis Mills is cheaper. Go ahead. I don't agree with it. But hey, if C.J. Stroud is open, go do it. Why not? So that's the Vikings. That's the Vikings as far as that's concerned. Their current cap space, they are way, way over it. They are sitting at $46 million over the cap. They're working on cutting everything back. They've cut Hargrave. They're cutting Aaron Jones. All that stuff has not gone into effect yet. They're probably going to cut Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly, restructure contracts. None of that has fully taken place yet. Once they do, that cap number will drop. But they are $46 million over the cap right now. Pretty bad. They're free agents. Eric Wilson, linebacker, 32 years old. Jeff Okudah, Justin Skoll, the left tackle, Tavierre Thomas, the safety, Rondale Moore, the wide receiver, Ryan Wright, the punter, and Carson Wentz is also a free agent. Nobody on this free agent list right here is worth even worrying about. Nobody at all. So I'm not worried about that. All right, let's go to the draft. The Minnesota Vikings have a decent draft setup. They have pick number 18, pick number 49. They have 2 picks in the third, 82 and 97. They do not have a pick in the fourth, but they have pick 161, 195, 234, and 240 for a grand total of 8 draft picks. Pick number 18, I think, is a great pick for the Vikings. Here's the thing. I think they need more. I would look for the Vikings to trade back, get more draft picks because they need to get younger. They need to get cheaper at locations. They need another second. They need another third. Look for the Vikings to be one of the ones that trades out of this first round. Could they use a guy? Yeah. But could they get him in the second and the third as well? Yeah. I would trade out. If I'm the Vikings, I'm not using that first. I'm using that first to set myself up better because I have to get younger. I have to get cheaper. My cap issue ain't going away because of how much money I've spent the last 2 years. So I've got to get cheaper. I think that's how they're going to be able to do it. If they don't, oh well. Oh well. All right. Let's go to a team that vastly underperformed last year. Vastly. Yep, you guessed it, the Detroit Football Lions. Yes, I did that. That's what I did. Deal with it. All right, the Detroit Lions are currently $6.5 million over the cap. They have $17 million in dead money. They just cut Graham Glasgow, which I didn't think was going to happen. I didn't think it would happen, but it saved them $5.5 million against the salary cap. That's a big help to them. Big help to them. So they're getting there. They're getting there. They will be where they need to be. Right now, here we go. So we've got DJ Reader, defensive lineman, 32 years old, free agent. Graham Glasgow, just said they cut him. He's a free agent. Alex Anzalone, that's a big one in my opinion for the defensive side of the ball. Anzalone has been really good. Really good. That one bothers me just a little bit. But linebackers are replaceable. I do think he goes to potentially the Raiders or the Titans and plays extremely well. Khalif Raymond, the outstanding returner, is a free agent. Amik Robertson, the corner. Roy Lopez, the defensive lineman. Marcus Davenport, Josh Paschal, Grant Stewart, the linebacker. There is a bunch of defensive players that are free agents. That's not good. You remember, not this past year, but the last year when they got beat by the Commanders because they had legitimately 20-plus defensive players on the IR? It's not good when all of your defensive players, all of your secondary defensive players, all your role players are free agents. That's not a good thing. Just saying. That is not a good thing. Now, they do not have a third-round pick. But because of how the season ended, they have pick number 17 in the first round, pick number 50 in the second round. Then they have 2 picks in the fourth, 118, 128. 2 picks in the fifth, 155, 180. They also have 2 picks in the sixth, 187, 204, and then their 7th round pick is 222. For a grand total of 9 draft picks. Here again lies a situation. You've got to get younger. Trade back and get another pick. And I'm not saying trade out of the first round. I don't think they need to do that. I'm thinking just trade back in the first round. Get a 4th or a 5th round pick on top of that first. Get yourself up to 10. get up to that 10 threshold. I think that is a perfect number. Here's my view on the draft. Okay, I have done this in Madden forever. You guys know, if you've listened for any amount of time, I play Madden the same way I talk to you. I am a GM the same way. I do not play Madden to play Madden. I play Madden to be the GM, to learn the numbers, to learn the background, to learn the system, to learn all the intricacies of everything that is there. That is what I do. So I have learned this. If you have 10 draft picks, 10, you can flip your roster and your salary cap very easily. Here's why. 10 draft picks, if they all are on your roster, is 20% of the roster. You have a 53-man roster. 10 is 20% of 50. It helps you flip that salary cap around. It helps you do what you need to do. And it fixes a lot of issues. Now, me, I hate 7th round picks. I despise 7th round picks. I don't like 7th round picks. But I love 5th round picks. So every single team that I manage in Madden, the 7th round pick and the 6th round picks are always gone, and I get 5th round picks in their place. Why? Because I believe the 5th round is a gem round. I love the 4th and 5th rounds of NFL drafts. I love them because you can find so many little nuggets sitting there, players that were just coached really well, that didn't play at a big school, that don't have all the hype, but are technically sound. I love the 5th round. I love the 4th and 5th round picks. So if I'm the Lions, I am trading back from 17 to the early 20s, getting a 5th round pick, maybe even a 4th, getting up to the 10 threshold. That is what I am doing. Now, what's the biggest issue in Detroit? They saved money with the David Montgomery trade. They got those picks coming in. So the question I guess we have then is, what else do they have to do? Well, honestly, in free agency, I don't know if they're going to be able to be that active. And honestly, on the back end, the secondary, if it's healthy, is a really good secondary. The problem is, it's never healthy. So I really can't tell you what the Lions need to do because injuries have derailed everything. And that's really the case. Injuries derailed all of it. Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch. Injuries just kind of did them in. So I don't think it's a massive switch. If they're just healthier, they're better. So get 10 draft picks, swip out all that salary cap, and give yourself a very, very good option. That's what I'm going to say. All right. A team that is consistently underperforming if you actually look at what they do. A team that is consistently underperforming and they paid a high price for a player that ended up being injured. The Green Bay Packers. As of right now, the Green Bay Packers are $5 million over the salary cap. That's not a big deal. They'll get back underneath that. No big issues. So the Packer free agents, though, this is what's interesting. Trayvon Diggs is a free agent. That wasn't a real signing. We know that. He got out of Dallas, signed with them, didn't really play, blah, blah, blah. So that's not a big deal. Quay Walker, the linebacker, is only 26 years old. That one's a big deal. Malik Willis, the backup quarterback that kept everything afloat, is a free agent. Oh, I cannot wait for the end of this week. I cannot wait for the end of this week. Because I already have a theory on 2027. I already have a theory on 2027. And I think between next Monday and Wednesday, I will be able to somewhat tell you what the plan for 2027 is. I have already got those theories kind of played out. I was talking to Big J last night. Felt so damn good to be able to talk about football last night. We were talking about football for the entire 2.5 hours. We were on the phone basically, a little bit of basketball, but it was mostly football. Felt so good. And I had a revelation. And I think I figured out how this is going to play out. I will share that with you when we get done with all the snapshots. Right now, it's too early. But I will let you know what I think is going to happen in 27. And I think this year what happens with Malik Willis, with the Packers not having him, because Malik Willis is probably going to end up down in Miami. Malik Willis should get a $10 to $15 million a year deal, maybe even 20, depending on how the Dolphins are able to play the cap, to get Malik Willis to go down to Miami and be the starter. Malik Willis is a free agent. Sean Ryan, the center, is a free agent. Zane Anderson is a free agent. Romeo Dobbs is a free agent. Emmanuel Wilson's a free agent. Bo Melton is a free agent. You've got guys that have had to play because of injuries that are free agents. Quay Walker bothers me the most. Quay Walker, I feel like, is a very... The Colts had these linebackers for a long time. They would have guys like Freddie Keaho. They had guys like David Thornton. You know, they had guys like Rob Morris. They're not on the top of anybody's list. But you just kind of want him there. And he's only 26. You can give him a 4-year deal and be pretty happy with it. I would be. I'd be thrilled. 4-year deal, 26-year-old player, heartbeat. Let's go. So I don't like the Quay Walker one. I don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign him. I don't know if he wants to be re-signed. The Packers, something people haven't realized, without the 7th seed, the Packers wouldn't make the playoffs. I just want to point this out. So I was looking at this. Let me pull this up again. I saw this, or I had heard this, and then I verified everything. And it's the last time. So when you look up everything, and you go, okay, so they made the playoffs. They're good there. Blah 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 blah. Okay, this is what's interesting though. So when you go to the Green Bay Packers and you go down to the seasons, okay, and you start just looking through all the seasons. So you look at Matt LaFleur, okay? You look at Matt LaFleur. Lost against the Bears. 7th seed. 2024. Lost against the Eagles. 7th seed. 2022, 8-9, didn't make the playoffs. 2021, lost in the divisional round to the 49ers. In 2020, they won over the Rams in the divisional round after going 13-3 and then lost to the Buccaneers. What's really interesting about this is they actually haven't been in a high position since 2021. Remember that wild game in Dallas where that 7th-seeded Green Bay Packer team went to Dallas and flat out roasted that Dallas Cowboy team? Yeah, they were the 7th seed. They were the 7th seed next year. They were the 7th seed with the Bears. They need to do better. They're just barely squeaking by, and it's not good enough. So when you make a trade for Micah Parsons, this is how this all wraps up. You make a trade for Micah Parsons. He is supposed to be the player that you need. You traded a first-round pick and a second-round pick to be able to get Micah Parsons. Way too much in my opinion. Oh well. Then he gets injured. You're the 7th seed. And you lost. Again. You don't have that luxury now. It's just like with the Colts. We haven't gotten to the Colts yet. We will. It's just like with the Colts. The Colts made a 2 first-round pick trade for Sauce Gardner. You can't miss the playoffs then. You can't be sitting. The Jets have a very good pick. For the Jets to have a second pick before the playoff teams is great for them. It's great. The Jets now have the next 2 years of first-round picks for the Colts, and we don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Colts. That can't be the case. If you're going to make that move, you've got to make the playoffs. It has to be a run that your fans believe in. Now the Packers are sitting here again after another, what is really a lackluster season. Up and down and up and down and up and down. And the fans are sitting there going, yeah, we lost in the wild card again. I mean, score was closer than the game actually was, but we lost. That can't happen. So the Packers are going to have to hit on these draft picks. And the Packers don't have a first-round pick. Their picks start in round number 2. They have pick 52, 84, 120, 158, 200, 236, and 255. They still have 7 picks, but there's no first. It's 2 sevens. I don't see, I really don't. I don't see Green Bay making a lot of progress unless they're outrageously healthy. I just don't see it. Micah Parsons, you run at him. You're in the NFC North. Guess what's happening to Micah Parsons? The Lions run. The Bears run. The Vikings run. How do you beat a guy that is only 240 pounds soaking wet as a defensive rush end? How do you beat him? I don't know. Put a 320-pound offensive lineman on top of him? Normally that works pretty good. He is horribly weak against the run. He's great against tosses. But if you're going zone plays, get your hands on him, and you're not using a tight end, it's over. He has no strength for it. He gets pushed. Run at him. Wear him down. Teams are figuring it out. You're going to be that small, just run straight at him. That's why I don't think he was ever worth the price that the Packers paid. I thought the Cowboys won that trade, hands down. They have 2 first-round picks this year and a defensive-heavy draft. I think that is fantastic for the Cowboys. If Jerry Jones doesn't mess this up, it's great for the Cowboys. Great for the Cowboys. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Next team we're going to talk about, the last one in this division, the Chicago Bears. The Bears. They are $7.5 million over the salary cap right now. They got to make a couple different moves, but they only have $917. They basically had $1 million in dead cap. Not bad. Not bad. Easily workable. Easily workable. But here we go. They're free agents. Safety, Kevin Byard, going to be 33 years old. He is a free agent. Joe Tryon, edge rusher, free agent. Ryan Bates, center, free agent. Andrew Billings and Chris Williams, defensive lineman, free agent. Nobody else really big. Jaquan Brisker is on here. Gardner Johnson is a free agent as well. But nobody really big. They can replace most of these players through rookies, so through the draft or undrafted free agents. But let's go to the draft. Why not? Let's go to the draft. So they don't have a 6th-round pick. They didn't listen to me. They didn't go the right way. They don't have a 6th-round pick. They have 2 sevens. So they have a 1st-round pick, pick number 25. Then pick number 57, 89, 129, 163, no pick in the 6th, and then 2 picks in the 7th round, 239 and 241. The last time the Chicago Bears drafted this low on purpose. Nope, they lost the wild card. Was 2010. 2010 is the last time they drafted 25th or later. They won the divisional. They lost the NFC Championship game. In 2010, they lost the wild card in 2018. They lost the wild card in 2020. Yeah. Not great. So, they aren't used to drafting in this position, to say the least. They're not used to drafting in this position. How they do drafting this low in the draft will play a huge role in the success that they are able to have. A huge role. I don't believe for a second that the Bears are a one-and-done type team. I believe because Ben Johnson is there and they have pieces. Swift is there, Monungai's there. They got Colston Loveland. They got Rome Odunze. They got DJ Moore still. I don't think that it's a bad... I don't think they're going to drop off. I think they'll take a step back. Ben Johnson won't be able to fool as many people. Caleb Williams' issues are very glaring. Very glaring. If you take away the deep stuff, he can't hit layups. Like that's, just watch the games. It's his deep stuff that he keeps hitting. If you take away the deep, you make him throw short. He's not great at it. His accuracy is so bad, and you can get interceptions off of it. I think defenses will catch up to what Caleb Williams is now compared to what he was his first year. So I think they have opportunities. Something I believe you need to watch out for with this team. I believe DJ Moore is on his way out. I really do. I think they want to run with Rome Odunze, and I think they want to run with Luther Burden. I don't believe they feel like they need DJ Moore. I agree with that sentiment. I don't think they need DJ Moore either. He's been frustrated. He could be used by plenty of other teams. He would have a huge market. You'd still be able to get a third, if not a second, for him. I think DJ Moore is one of those players that you look out for the Bears to trade away to get younger or to get cheaper, especially at the receiver position, because the reality is, guys, the NFL draft has some really good receivers. They're picking at pick 25. I don't believe that I don't believe they're going to trade out. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But I was looking at the receivers today. And I was just going down some of them. I'm like, who would fit as a slot guy for the Chicago Bears? That's all I was thinking. Who would fit as a slot guy for the Chicago Bears? And I kept coming across one name that they may be able to get in the second round. Zachariah Branch, the receiver from Georgia. And I think if you pair Rome Odunze with Luther Burden and bring in Zachariah Branch to be the slot guy with Colston Loveland as the tight end, I fully 100% think that would work. Their first-round pick can be offensive line. Ben Johnson has been focused on the offensive line. It can be offensive line. I don't know which one's going to be there. I really don't. Pick number 25, I'm not sure. Monroe Freeling maybe. Caden Proctor is probably going to end up sliding into the bottom of the first round. So you got two different options there. You could end up going guard, though. Like Ione, the guard out of Penn State. If he falls to you at 25, I would draft him in a heartbeat. I love his power. I love his ability. But the way everything plays out, I don't think Chicago is set up bad. I really don't. I just don't think Chicago is set up bad. Their free agent list, it's not horrible. Byard will get a 1 or 2 year deal from a team, but you can fill everybody with the draft and unrestricted free agents. They don't have to take a major step backwards, and I believe that is absolutely what they need. All right. Now, before we get to the NHL and before we get to the NBA, let's go through some of the rumors. Number one. Wanted to go over this right away because this is huge. The Jets placed the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall. Now, this is what's interesting. Follow me on this one. Hall is now expected to make $14.2 million. What the franchise tag does for him, though, is it means he's going to be a Jet unless he doesn't really, unless they don't sign it or sign like it. He's a Jet. Because if another team makes an offer, the Jets have the right of first refusal. And if they decline to match what that other team gives them, they get 2 first-round picks. Heck no. No. Listen, I love Breece Hall. No. I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks. No. Not a chance. They would receive 2 first-round picks as compensation. No. Just no. No. So Breece Hall is going to be a New York Jet. Basically what we've come down to. Unless he demands a trade, Breece Hall will be a Jet. The Indianapolis Colts are once again dragging their feet. 4 p.m. is fast approaching, and Alec Pierce is still a potential free agent. They have not franchise tagged him, which they should have already. So they haven't franchise tagged him. They also haven't franchise tagged Daniel Jones. Neither one has had anything happen yet. The Seahawks are going to let Kenneth Walker walk. I called that. I said that was going to happen. They're going to run with Charbonnet. That doesn't surprise me at all. He will be an unrestricted free agent running back. And then you've got the Vikings. So the Vikings are now open to trading Jonathan Grenard. They tried to last year at the deadline. They looked at this. He's got a really good advantage here. Really good advantage. He's 2 years into a 4-year deal. So he has 2 years remaining. He's 28 years old. This is perfect for any team trying to trade for him. He's got a 2-year deal left. You don't have to worry about giving him an extension. He's only 28. 2 years, he'll be 30. Perfect. This is a great trade opportunity for a lot of teams. Watch for a lot of your higher-end teams to make this type of move. And when I'm talking higher-end teams, I mean, watch for the Patriots to potentially go get Grenard. Watch for a team like maybe Washington to go get Grenard. Denver could make a move for Grenard. Watch for some of the playoff teams to make this move because it makes sense. There is not a question mark in whether or not Jonathan Grenard can play football. It makes sense. So watch out for that. Watch out for that. All right, that is all the NFL news for now, I believe. Let's make sure nothing else pops up, although I love it when they do. Nothing else pops up. Nope, nothing else popped up. All right. Let's go to the NHL. All right, last night, the Detroit Red Wings knocked off the Nashville Predators 4-2 in Nashville. The Columbus Blue Jackets knocked off the Rangers in overtime 5-4. The Flyers beat the Maple Leafs of Toronto 3-2 in a shootout. The Dallas Stars beat the Canucks 6-1. The Kraken beat the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1. And the Colorado Avalanche beat the Los Angeles Kings 4-2. In the NBA, last night was interesting. Very interesting. So, last night, the Rockets went to Washington. It's just an odd night. The Rockets went to Washington. Sengun had 32 points, 13 rebounds. The Rockets only beat the Wizards 123-118. I did not see that coming. And then you had this game that I thought was going to be better. Giannis was back last night. Giannis coming back, going to knock off the rust. That team potentially may start looking a little bit better. They scored 81 points. 81 points. The Celtics beat the Bucks without Jaylen Brown. 108-81. I saw that score and I go, what is this, 1999? What are we in, the year 2004? Like, what the heck is this? 108-81? Like, that's a score you used to have when you played the Bobcats. Like, what are we doing here? Gosh. The Bucks are a mess. They have no team structure. Kevin Porter, the young player, just trade Giannis and build around Kevin, will ya, huh? Just do it. Kevin Porter is so much better for what they do. He's a facilitator with the ball in his hand. Young point guard. He's just so much better. And then you get just walloped by the Celtics. 108-81. Giannis had 19 points, 11 rebounds. Oh, gosh. Then a game that I was watching last night that was super fun to watch. The Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz last night. The Utah Jazz. I have told you guys all year, I love this team. They just can't play defense. They score so many points. Keyonte George was on fire last night. 36 points for the Utah Jazz. The young point guard went off. 4 steals. Had a full stat line. 4 assists. 4 rebounds. It was gorgeous stat line. Filled it up. Jamal Murray had 45 points and 8 assists for the Denver Nuggets. And in the end, the Jazz just didn't have enough to get it done. But dang it was a good game. It was really fun. I'm watching and I'm going, the Jazz are going to beat the Nuggets. Like, the Wizards were trying to come back and beat the Rockets. The Jazz are going to beat the Nuggets. What type of Monday is this? That was my legitimate question. What type of Monday is this? It was a fun one to watch that game. That was an outstanding game. And then the nightcap, the Clippers at the Warriors. The Warriors just do not have any power right now. No Porzingis, no Steph Curry, and it is showing up. They can come out on fire, and then they absolutely fall flat on their face. The Clippers ended up winning in the second half, basically. They outscored the Warriors 35-23 in the third. They outscored them 37-22 in the fourth. En route to a 114-101 victory over the Golden State Warriors last night. Benedict Mathurin, a guy I never wanted to have traded, 17 points, 7 rebounds, a block, and a steal. It was sad. I was very sad. Very sad. But here we go. Tonight's games. Looking forward to this. FYI, if you have a DraftKings account, number one, hit me up so I can refer you. Number two, if you have a DraftKings account, tonight is $3 million in bonus bets up for grabs if you get one of the top 3 points, rebounds, assists, total leaders. You just have to be one of the top 3. Not the top 1 like normal, one of the top 3. So let's take a look at some of the matchups tonight. What could we see? Well, you got Dallas and Charlotte. Last time that game played, Cooper Flagg went off, Concanoople went off, so keep that in mind. You got Detroit at Cleveland. That's going to be an interesting game. Cleveland's got to show they can play, but they got injuries, so who knows. Washington's playing Orlando on the second half of a back-to-back. I'm going Orlando to win. Not sure about points, rebounds, assist leader. Miami, Norman Powell is out. This is going to be big for Miami. I think that could hurt them trying to make a run for that top 6 seed. But they play the Nets tonight, so shouldn't be a big deal. The Knicks play at the Raptors. That's a huge game in Toronto. Big game for the Raptors. On NBC tonight, we got the San Antonio Spurs at the Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers are holding on to that 6th seed in the Eastern Conference as tightly as they can. The Spurs are coming in there with Wembanyama. Can Joel Embiid move enough to keep track of Wembanyama? Highly doubt it. The backcourt for Philly, Maxi's going to have to be on fire. The problem is the San Antonio Spurs have a young backcourt that can run just as much as Maxi can. I think that's actually going to be a good game. I am expecting a good game. The Thunder are playing the Chicago Bulls. So if you're going to pick SGA for your points, rebounds, assists leader, you're probably not really wrong. Memphis Grizzlies are at the Minnesota Timberwolves. The New Orleans Pelicans are at the Lakers. So guess who my pick is? That's right. I locked in Luka. However, I am going to make a 5-leg parlay pick for points, rebounds, assists. And I'm going to only put $1 on it, but I'm going to try to nail the top 5 for tonight. It is a grand idea. It is a way out there idea. It's a pipe dream. But I am going to try to nail the top 5 points, rebounds, and assist leaders from the games tonight. And then the second game on NBC tonight, Phoenix Suns at the Sacramento Kings. Don't sleep on the Kings because the Suns don't have Dillon Brooks. So there you go. All right. 4 more snapshots done. Talked about the NBA. Talked about the NFL news. NHL scores. Running down through the rest of the season now in the NHL. Nothing big in Major League Baseball right now. We will do some college basketball tomorrow. We will do that tomorrow because the all of the tournaments are going to start happening here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. There it is. So we've got some tournaments are starting this week. And then you're going to be looking at let's see. Let's go into the bracket here. Let's close out with this. Yep, that's right. I thought so. Okay, so the Ohio Valley Conference, which actually takes place down south, is March 4th through 7th. Then you got the Big South is March 4th through 8th. Missouri Valley is 5th through 8th. Sun Belt is 3 through 9. Southern Conference is 6 through 9. Then you start getting into some of the other ones. And yeah, it's going to be next weekend. So this weekend into next weekend, Mountain West is 11 through 14. Mid-Eastern, 11 through 14. Big East is 11 through 14. Big 12 is 10 through 14. Let's see, the Big A10 is 11 through 15. SEC is 11 through 15. So this week is going to finish regular games for most of the bigger conferences. The smaller conferences all have their championship weeks, which is big because remember, you win the championship, Okay? You win their tournament, that's your automatic bid for the NCAA tournament. So we are into championship week. We are. We are into championship week. Let's take a look at the poll, and then let's get the heck out of Dodge. So in the AP Top 25 poll, Duke is number 1, Arizona is number 2. Michigan is number 3, followed by UConn at 4, Florida at 5. Iowa State is at 6, Houston 7, Michigan State is 8, Nebraska 9, Texas Tech is 10. Illinois at 12, Illinois at 11, Gonzaga at 12, Virginia at 13, Kansas, not sure why they're this high. They're 21-8. They are 14. Purdue is 15. Bama is 16. North Carolina is 17. St. John's is 18. Miami of Ohio is still undefeated. They are 29-0. And everybody's going to complain about, it's the MAC. They're going to get don't start saying they're going to get beat in the first round. Don't start doing that bull crap. Don't do it. That Miami of Ohio team can play some really good basketball. They really can. Number 19 is Miami of Ohio, and 20 is Arkansas, 21 is St. Mary's, 22 Miami, 23 Tennessee, 24 is Vanderbilt, and number 25 is the St. Louis Billikens at number 25. So this week, finished playing out a lot of these games. And we got some big games tonight. Clemson's at North Carolina. Alabama's at Georgia. TCU is at Texas Tech. You got Mississippi State playing Florida. Nebraska's on the road against UCLA. It's a big night. It is a big night. Can't afford an upset now. We all know that. Cannot afford an upset right now. All right. That's it. That is all we got, ladies and gentlemen, for a Tuesday. I appreciate you guys ever so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. As always, I deeply appreciate it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share the podcast with a friend. As always, my gratitude. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Another day. Until then, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk. I am out. Make it the best day that you can. See ya.